Well, hello world.
So that's what it was.
Here we go.
You can't do live with that effect, that's why it wasn't working.
You know, it says poor network connection. Hi, everybody. All right. Hello, people are joining. Yay. Tell me where you are. I'd love to know. Just trying to...
Okay, I have to change the phone. Hello, Instagram.
Hello. Oh, from LA. How cool. Hello, Instagram. Hello, everybody. Okay, we're getting started in a minute. Just let it go, and then, yeah, that's it. There we go. That's fine, darling. Yay. All right, so everybody, today it's a bit different for our 11:11 a.m. session, as I call it, even though it may not be 11 a.m., 11:11 where you are. It is 11:11 a.m. where I am. It's the new moon. We've actually had the new moon this morning, so I don't know about you. I've had kind of a crazy morning. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do today. And we're going to do it together, which is really great. Oh, thanks, darling. Just got my list of all the things we're going to do. So, yeah, so today's session, as it says in the description, is about the new moon. And the new moon today is healing. I'm going to try and keep it to half an hour because I know some of you are looking in from work on your lunch hour. Someone told me yesterday, so I'm going to try and keep it to half an hour. Wish me luck. The new moon today is healing, okay? Now, let's just start off by, well, I'll tell you what we're going to cover today so you know what's coming up. We're going to take a look at the new moon in Aries and why it's so important, okay? We're going to have a look at this particular new moon, as in the new moon today, 2020. And if you have your Moonology diary, we'll be looking in that a bit because that's always a font of information, even if I do say so myself, since I wrote it. We'll be doing some chanting to the goddess Durga because she's the goddess that helps us have the courage and strength we need to make our dreams come true. And we'll do a new moon reading. I'm thinking I'm going to do this all in half an hour. And that's about it. And I'm just going to say, by the way, if you want to get a free new moon kit, I've put a link in the description above or below, on Facebook at least. I don't think I've got it on Instagram, I'm sorry. You can go to moonmessages.com/new kit. moonmessages.com/new kit. You will get a special free new moon kit, everything you need for the new moon. And if you stay until the end, I'm actually going to give you a link for, I might have already put it in the description actually, but I'm going to give you a link for our super duper special New Moon in Aries offer, which is giving you 50% off. My husband was gunning for 60, but my tech guy said, no, that's ridiculous, stay at 50. So we're staying at 50% off. The Sun, Moon and Stars membership area, our new membership area, which is all very exciting. The link is actually for that in the description as well, but I'll give it to you. Oh, let me just give it to you now. It's moonmessages.com Aries offer. Moonmessages.com Aries offer. So if you want, and that's a limited offer for the new moon today. So if you want to grab that, you'll get 50% off our membership area. So there you go. We thought we'd do something special for the new moon. So let's talk about, for a start, why the Aries new moon is so important. And I'm sure if I give you a second, someone can tell me look at the people on Facebook, 11. Why is the Aries new moon so important? I'm like a teacher. Anyone want to tell me? Okay, let me answer my own question. It's because it's the first new moon of the new cycle, okay? Aries, as you might know, is the first sign of the zodiac. So even though, at least here in the West, we celebrate the year sort of January 1 as the first day of the year, and December 31 is the last day of the year, astrologically speaking, it is not the case. Astrologically speaking, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Now, just really briefly, why is it the first sign of the zodiac? Well, basically, Aries comes with spring. Spring comes with Aries. And, spring really feels like the rebirth every year, doesn't it? And I'm sure if you've done any work with like moon cycles or your menstrual cycle, you get the new moon, which is spring, and then you get the quarter moon, which is summer. I think I'm getting this right. I actually don't do this, but I know people do. Then you get the full moon, which is winter, and you get the third quarter moon, which is, have I got that right? I think I've got that wrong. Anyway, if you know it, you know it. If you don't know it, look it up. I don't do it. What I do is I look at the astrology of it, the astrology. And astrology is spring and Aries is spring and spring is Aries. So everything's rising up, okay, in spring. And then we get summer, and then we get autumn, and then we get winter. So let's try that again, shall we? It must be new moon for spring, first quarter moon for summer. Does that sound right? Full moon for... This doesn't sound right. Somebody will have to tell me. Actually, Sun, Chana, Moon, if you're online, you know. She's the one who's kind of taught me this, but I'm obviously not a very good student. Okay, anyway, it's the first sign of the zodiac is the point I'm trying to make here. It's the first sign of the zodiac, and so it's the first of the 12 new moons through all the 12 signs that's going to take place over the coming 12 months, okay? That's why the Aries new moon is important as an astrologer, and as for you as a student of astrology or someone who just wants to tune into the lunar cycle. The Aries new moon is important because it's the first new moon of the new lunar cycle, which will go for 12 or 13 moons depending on the year. Okay, so if you're just starting to understand the fact that you can actually work with the moon to create your life, which you can, because that's what a whole lot of us here do, and that's what I do, and it's been working for me for more than 20 years in amazing ways, touch wood. It's kind of incredible. Now is a really good time to kind of get started, to get on board, because the new moon in Aries is the start of the new cycle. Now, of course, you can start anytime. Okay, you can start anytime, but starting it with Aries is actually symbolically a really good time to start. It's a time when everything is kind of being renewed. It's like because we're at the start of the cycle, it's just a really good time to commit to 12 months with the moon. So I highly recommend you do that. And if you've got my diary, which I'm sorry to say, well, I'm not sorry to say, I'm happy to say, but I'm sorry if you didn't get one. It is sold out around the world. But if you do have it, yay you, well done. If you have been a bit slack in the first 3 months of the year, you haven't been doing your new moon wishes, you haven't been doing your full moon release work, this is the time to pick your diary up and get into it, okay? It's never too late, but the new moon in Aries is kind of like, it's like a second chance to start the year all over again, okay? So think of it like that. Think of now is my chance to start all over again. Now, of course, we're all in quarantine or lockdown or whatever you want to call it. But in some ways, isn't that a gift? Because we all have just a little bit more time, a little bit more time, because we're not going out and doing stuff, or we shouldn't be, probably, depending on where you are in the world. So, now we have time to do things like a new moon ceremony, which is what we're going to do today. Okay, now looking at this new moon in particular, because every new moon is a bit different. Like the Aries new moon in 2019, it will be slightly, the planets are in different places, so it's got a slightly different feel to the one that we're getting today, that we had this morning. So here we go. Looking at the diary, in fact, it's a lot of what I've just said. Here we are, the new moon in Aries. It's the moment of the year to recommit to anything which matters to you, okay? So what really matters to you? What did you start 2020 saying, I'm going to do that this year? And you haven't, if you've fallen off course, if you've gone off course, recommit. It's also important because it takes place as the energy between two mighty planets, Jupiter and Pluto, is building. Jupiter and Pluto are massive planets that are connecting this year really harmoniously and helping us to make massive changes. And guess what? Obviously, I didn't actually see the coronavirus coming, but massive changes are going on in the world as we all, change our lives because of what's going on in the world. If you want to use the Aries energy to manifest, commit now to manifesting courage. Courage for yourself and for the people you love. Aries is about the courage to chase our dreams, okay? So ask yourself the classic question. I'm going to ask you to ask yourself this now, okay? This is really serious. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If you want to put your answer in the comments, if you're brave enough, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That's a really good way for you to understand what it is you really want to manifest in your life. And now at the new moon in Aries, it's a really, really good time to do it. This is a second new year, the start of the new astrological year. If you've, I've kind of said all that anyway. So let's make some wishes. All right, so let's actually make some wishes online, okay? I would recommend that that you do a little session. Oh, good. People are doing what would they do if they knew they couldn't fail. That is amazing. I'm so happy. Yes, good. Keep writing them down. Knowing what you'd do if you knew you couldn't fail is basically getting the key to whatever it is you want. And one thing I'm going to be doing in my new membership area I'm going to be helping people make one big commitment for the year. And then every month we'll be working towards it rather than trying to achieve everything in 5 minutes. That was one idea that a friend of mine gave me actually. People are saying I'd write a book, I'd start a business making gourmet chocolates. Go, Monique, I'd love some, please. Continue to promote my coaching business for women in construction and serve. I'd start my own TV show. Amazing. We'll start it on YouTube. Quit my job and write. Abundant. Okay, so Julie, quit my job and write. We'll just write, and then when it starts to sell, quit your job. Don't do it backwards. Work with the poor. Christy, holistic healing. Become a holistic healer. Get my healing practice started. Okay, well, funnily enough, a lot of people are saying about healing, which is interesting, because guess what? This new moon is actually taking place in the same place as Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is an extremely healing new moon, okay? So what I want you to do is whatever you've written down or whatever you thought to yourself of what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail, then I want you to write that down as your goal for the next 12 months, okay? Someone's saying here, which house should we look to the new moon? Solar or rising sign? Rising sign. All right, we're not going to go through the houses right now. I'm just going to keep it really simple and straightforward today. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do some chanting to the goddess Durga. Now, why Durga? Because Durga is the goddess who gives us courage and strength, and that's what we need to do that thing that we know we would do if we knew we couldn't fail. So I'm going to ask you, wherever you are, close your eyes, unless you're driving, in which case do it later, unless you're doing something where you can't close your eyes. So just close your eyes and just start to become aware of the rise and fall of your breath. And just breathe. And I want you to put your hands on your heart, and I want you to think of someone or something you are truly grateful for, or a couple of people, whatever it is. And just feel all the tension just draining out of you as you move into a state of gratitude. And I call on the goddess Kuan Yin to help us to be compassionate with ourselves and others at this trying time. Just breathe in and out. And I call Saint Germain, the keeper of the violet flame, and to complete the Trinity, I call on the goddess Durga. So now I want you to bring into your mind's eye a picture of you having achieved that thing that you know that you would do if you knew you couldn't fail. just see yourself doing it, having it, being it, embodying it. Just feel it in your body as real. And I'm going to do a 3-line chant to the goddess Durga. Keep it in your mind's eye to give us the courage and strength to chase that dream. Om Durgaye Namaha. Om Durgaye Namaha. Om Durgaye Namaha. I wish you lots of courage and strength to achieve your... I'm going to try and keep to the time that I said. Oh, I can't see, so too bad. All right, so now let us do a card reading for the new moon, okay? So to do that, I'm going to be using my trusty Moonology cards. If you've got them, they continue to sell around the world like hotcakes. So thank you to everybody who's been buying them. If you haven't ever seen them, they're absolutely beautiful. Oh look, that's my favourite, pretty much my favourite card in the deck. It says you and your loved ones are safe. All right, so there is a new moon and a full moon spread in the booklet. So let's do the new moon spread since it's new moon day. And then I'm going to ask you to please be making your wishes later on today. Write them down. And again, not to keep talking about my new membership area, but that's actually something we're going to do in the membership area as well every month. We're actually going to do a new moon ceremony. I'm going to set something up so we can do a new moon ceremony because it's not really something we can do on Facebook. So I'm going to do it in the new moon or Instagram for that matter. New moon 3-card spread. If you have the book, it's page 18. So 3 cards. What's rising up in me? The main message of this new moon and the final outcome. Okay, so what's rising up in me, the main message of the new moon and the final outcome. Cindy. You got the worksheet. Yes, there's a link to the free worksheets in the description on Facebook. I'm sorry, Instagram. I don't know how to put... you can't do links on Instagram properly, can you? But if you want them, they're moonmessages.com/new kit. moonmessages.com/new kit. That's where you'll get them. It's a free worksheet, free guide to wishing, and also for people who like to work with crystals, there's information about crystal grids. All right, so what's rising up in me? Are you ready? This is for all of us, okay? The main message of the new moon and the final outcome. I mean, what a time to be alive, eh? Before we go, we're going to make a group wish for the eradication of the coronavirus. So hang around. I wish I knew what time it was, but I literally have no idea. Can anyone tell me the time in London? Great. Okay. So, what is rising up in me? And we got the full moon in Leo card, which says, don't let pride get in your way. But it also has more meanings than just that. Let's have a look. Have you been letting your pride become an obstacle? So, you know, that's a really interesting question for this time, isn't it? Because what would you do if you couldn't fail? Is pride holding you back? Is the question, Leo energy is all about the heart, but it can become over the top. This card may have come to you because you need to end a deadlock that's developed. More love and thoughts for the greater good are the solution to any dilemma you have. So there's an idea. So think about whatever it is. Like people were saying they want to write a book, they want to do a healing practice. Oh, thanks, Lise, for the time in London. Nearly done, guys. But, you know, instead of thinking, I want to write a book, but I don't have the courage or whatever, reframe it and think about all those people that you will help with your book. One way or another. Like even if it's a novel, you'll help people because you'll give them an escape, you'll give them some pleasure. If it's a self-help book, then obviously it's going to be helpful to people. So think about that. You know, how can you turn your desires that you have, whatever it is you want to achieve, your holistic training, someone said they want to go to Australia. Think about how it's going to help other people. That's a really good way to reframe it. And also, the attunement, every card has an attunement, and this one is be magnificent. So, you know, be magnificent, do your thing, be magnificent. Creative urges should be followed. And then a little caution, self-esteem is good, vanity is not. All right, so that's for what's rising up. The middle card, the main message of the new moon. What do you need to release? What do you need to release? Okay, it's the waning moon. So it's really a message of, you know, in other words, backing up this idea of what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail. What do you need to release in order to achieve your goal? What do you need to release in order to achieve your goal? The waning moon points to what's falling away. Life goes in cycles and sometimes we need downtime. Well, if this isn't downtime, worldwide quarantine, I don't know what is downtime. No matter where in the moon cycle you've pulled this card, it's a sign that it's time for you to go easier. Now here's the answer to my question. It's the autumn it's the autumn and winter of the cycle. I was trying to work that out before. I really need to learn that because I think it's a beautiful kind of symbology for the cycle, but I've never worked with it. So what do you need to release? This card can be very positive, but still be suggesting you let something go. Okay, so maybe you need to let fear go. Maybe you need to let pride go. What is it that's holding you back from doing that thing that you know that you would do if you knew you couldn't fail? Move forward with as little resistance as possible. And, you know, it's really also a message to just a bit at this time. I mean, you know, we're all in lockdown. We're all in quarantine, like pretty much all over the world except the Netherlands, I think, where they're doing the herd immunity. They're trying out the herd immunity thing. We're all in lockdown. We might as well give ourselves some downtime and look at what we need to release in our lives in order to achieve what we really want. I'm always reminded of a situation that happened in Australia many years ago. Excuse me, when the national airline, which was, I think, it's called Ansett. I think it was a national airline. I think it was Ansett. It's a few years ago now. And but it went bust, and a whole lot of people lost their jobs, including people I knew, actually, people who were flight stewardesses, for example. And you know, it was kind of a big deal. It'd be a bit like if, you know, American Airlines or British Airlines went bust, but the domestic version. But then what was so interesting was about a year later, one of the newspapers in Australia ran a big feature on all these, mainly women actually, because it was mainly flight stewardesses, all these women who'd basically lost their jobs and thought, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do that thing I've always wanted to do. I've got nothing else to lose. Let's do it. I suppose they got redundancy packages. Maybe they had a bit of a start with with finances, with cash. But yeah, so, you know, like maybe in a year's time, there's going to be a story like that of now where we're all in lockdown with all this time on our hands. Everything's so different. And maybe some of us are actually going to use this time to do something different with our lives, if that's what you want. I mean, I did something yesterday. probably you're going to laugh at me, but it's the little things as well as the big things. My son and I, we actually, fingers crossed, started a vegetable garden. We actually been meaning to do it. And about, a week ago, before we all kind of went into this massive lockdown, I ordered the stuff online, the soil and the all the stuff I needed. And yesterday we got the soil, we put it into the boxes, into the, the pots. I'm not a gardener, but I went out this morning and I watered the garden. I watered it. I watered the indoor ones. It's little things like that. Let's use this time constructively. I can't wait to read all the comments when I finish this. But yeah, think about what can you do in this period. It's the new moon in Aries today. It's the restart. Okay, so now let's look at the last card. Are you ready for the last card? Because if you're watching this, it's for you. 1, 2, 3. Luck is on our side. Luck is on our side. So whatever it is that you want to create, let everything else go. Let your pride go. Let your fears go. Create a space to step into and use the power of the new moon in Aries. Use the power of the new moon in Aries to start to create something that you really want to create. Okay? Luck is on our side. It's a very, very good omen for everybody. All right, so let's all finish with a wish for the good health of the world. So let's do it together. I'm going to use the method that I always use. Put your hand, if you're a woman, between your breasts. If you're a man, just in the middle of your chest, basically where your heart chakra is. We're going to wish for something from our hearts and we're going to throw it with our hand out as far away from our body as we can to put it out to the universe, okay? So let's all say together, if you can speak out loud, great. Otherwise, if you're with people and you don't want to be speaking out loud, just say it silently in your head. I wish for the good health of the world. Okay, are we ready? 1, 2. We're going to say, I wish for the good health of the world. So be it. And then we're going to throw our hand out. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I wish for the good health of the world. So be it. Okay, I'm going to end with a 3-line chant. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. And I will see you back here tomorrow, 11:11 a.m. for my daily message that I'm doing for as long as we're all in quarantine and lockdown. And by the way, just remember, if you want to get the free new moon kit, it's at moonmessages.com/new kit. Make the most of this new moon in the sign of Aries because it's the only one we're going to get all year. All right. I'm going to go and read your comments now. Lots of love.